I've been secretly learning my boyfriend's native language for a year. Yesterday, his mother insulted me in front of the entire family, not knowing I understood every word the first time I met my boyfriend Mateo's family. His mother smiled to my face while calling me just another white girl he'll get bored with in rapid Spanish. I know this because after 6 months of dating, I'd enrolled in secret Spanish lessons. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal. Mateo would speak Spanish with his family, then translate the highlights for me afterward. But I noticed how his mother's smile never reached her eyes when she looked at me, how conversations would suddenly switch to Spanish whenever I entered the room. She just needs time, Mateo would assure me. My ex really hurt our family. Mom's just protective. I believed him, but something felt off, so I downloaded language apps, hired a tutor, and practiced during my lunch breaks at work. I wanted to surprise Mateo, eventually plans to maybe order in Spanish at his favorite restaurant or understand his grandmother's stories without translation. I never planned to use it the way I did yesterday. It was Mateo's father's 60th birthday, a huge celebration with relatives from across the country. I'd spent hours helping prepare traditional dishes, following YouTube tutorials to make sure everything was authentic. Mateo beamed with pride, watching me carefully fold tamales alongside his aunts. During dinner, his mother Elena asked in English about my job. I explained my recent promotion, and Mateo squeezed my hand under the table. "That's nice," Elena replied in English. Then she turned to Mateo's aunt and switched to Spanish. "Too bad she focuses on her career. She'll never give Mateo children. These American girls are all the same, parent selfish. She probably can't even cook without her phone telling her how the table fell silent expenin." Except Mateo looked uncomfortable, darting glances between Elena and me. Mateo, oblivious to what was said, smiled and asked what was wrong. Something in me snapped. After a year of lessons, after practicing with telenovelas until my ears hurt, after genuinely trying to connect with his culture, I'd had enough. I set down my fork, looked directly at Elena, and responded in clear Spanish. "I understand you are protective of your son, but I've spent a year learning Spanish because I love him and respect his culture. I can cook without my phone. I do want children someday, and most importantly, I'm sitting right here. If you have concerns about me, I'd appreciate hearing them directly." The silence that followed was deafening. Mateo's jaw dropped. His father choked on his wine. His teenage cousin whispered holy shit and started filming with her phone. Elena's face cycled through shock, embarrassment, and finally something unexpected. "Parent respect? You speak Spanish?" she asked. "Still in Spanish for about a year now," I replied. "Not perfectly, but enough to understand." Mateo looked between us, completely lost. "What's happening right now?" His grandmother, who had been quietly observing, burst into laughter. "Your girlfriend just stood up to your mother in perfect Spanish. That's what's happening." Elena didn't apologize immediately. Instead, she studied me with new eyes before asking, "Why didn't you tell us you were learning?" "I wanted to surprise Mateo when I was better at it. I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of his family." She nodded slowly, then said something that shocked me more than her insults had. Mateo's ex never bothered to learn a single word. In 4 years after dinner, Mateo found me in the kitchen. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, looking hurt. "I wanted it to be a surprise," I said. "Not whatever that was. Do you know how many times my mother has tested my garmbrings like that, same awful things, assuming they couldn't understand?" I stared at him. "You knew." He looked away. "It's her way of protecting me. I should have warned you." "Yes, you should have," I agreed before we could continue. Elena entered the kitchen. She looked at Mateo leave us for a minute. When we were alone, she didn't apologize for her comments. Instead, she pulled out a worn notebook and handed it to me. "These are my mother's recipes. The ones I never gave Mateo's ex. If you are going to be in this family, you should learn to make his favorite dishes properly, not from YouTube." It wasn't an apology, but it was acceptance. This morning, Mateo found me practicing Spanish with his grandmother over video chat. She was teaching me how to properly curse out rude mothers-in-law, both of us laughing so hard we could barely speak. He just shook his head and smiled. "I am in trouble now, aren't I, Alpiel?" His grandmother and I replied in unison. "Big trouble."